Hello, Steve here, and we're back for another game of Modern Affinity. We are on the draw, and this is a fine hand. Yeah, this is completely acceptable. We have a Glimmermold Void and a Springleaf Drone, and a free artifact creature. So that will give us the 2 mana required to actually get going. We have some Signal Pests for some early attack and some creature diversity. And we have Cranial Platings for gas. So this is a fine hand, fairly resilient, so we are going to keep it. I realized last game I was clicking the OK button a lot. I do know how to use hotkeys. I just, it was my first video and I was sort of getting distracted by doing the commentating. So this turn I'm going to try to be using a little more hotkeys because it's probably pretty annoying to see me clicking all the time. Okay, Arid Mesa. Don't messa with an Arid Mesa. Oh god, that was terrible. I apologize. Alright. Throw an Ornithopter down. Tap Ornithopter. Deploy a Pest. Not a bad start. Turn 1 for permanents in play. Red? What are we dealing with here? Red, white, what could it be? Mind Stone. Huh. I don't know what we're playing against. Some kind of prison deck, maybe? Okay. I'm game. Ooh, that's good. Huh. Well, I'll be. I have 4 mana now, which is awesome. So I'm just gonna play a Signal Pest. Tap 2 to throw out a Cranial Plating. This is a great start. I mean, unless he's got a sweeper, which he may well do. He may well have Anger of the Gods. So we're looking to dodge Anger of the Gods, but other than that, I mean, this is a great start. Yep, Anger of the Gods, definitely. Yep. Alright. Well, that's unfortunate. So our chances of winning this game just went a little bit downhill. And we're switching into the Poison Them with Infect plan, which may or may not work depending on whether he has a Lightning Bolt. I really can't see him not having a Lightning Bolt here. I mean, I just feel like that's what's going on. We've got tons of removal, or it could be a... Oh! Okay. Huh. Yeah. I'll 5 Infect, why not? Okay. Blood Moon? No. Nahiri? Ajani? What is that? Ajani? I never play Ajani. Target permanent doesn't untap. Well, that's unfortunate. I'm assuming, yeah. Okay. Lame. Very lame. Oh, come on. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Too many Cranial Platings. So, yeah. I mean, he's just going to keep locking down my Inkmoth Nexus, obviously. I don't know what else he's got going. It seems like some kind of value or controlling red-white deck. Normally we do pretty well against a deck like this, but it does really depend on the sweeper, whether we get hit by a sweeper or not. That's not great. Okay. I'm just gonna keep playing ludicrous amounts of cranial platings, but obviously we don't have a lot of time to get going here because he's got 2 planeswalkers in play, 4 cards in hand. We are losing this game big time. Okay, he's drawing a card and discarding a card with Nahiri. I'm assuming he probably is playing Emrakul. Yeah, it seems like this is like a very controlling build. It's unfortunate that we're not going to win game 1 because obviously a deck with this much white probably is going to be playing some very effective hate cards against us. We don't like to see white as Affinity. It's just a general rule. Planes are bad. Mountains are bad too because they usually mean anger gods. So yeah, things aren't going too well. Let's see what happens here. Just wrong kinds of cards. Wrong kinds of cards. I mean, I feel like we're paying for the ridiculous luck that we had in game 1 where we just somehow managed to win with just 1 Ornithopter equipped and a bunch of Thought Seizes. So I feel like this is karma. Just a deck full of creatures and we're not drawing any of them. I really doubt that this is going to live, and even if it does, it's not really going to get past the Cobalt Omens, but we'll throw it out there anyway. What's a Johnny's ultimate? I don't even know. Destroy all lands. Yeah. The ironic part is that besides destroying the Inkmoth Nexus, that actually doesn't do much against me because my Darksteel Citadel is indestructible, and I have a lot of other ways to generate mana. So I'm not really too worried about the Ajani, but the Nahiri is going to be a big problem next turn because it's probably going to put an Emrakul into play. In some cases, if I was just playing by myself, I probably would have conceded at this point because I don't really see there's not too many outs that my deck actually has for this situation. Generally, with Affinity against a deck like this, you kind of need to win early, go underneath them. If they get really set up like this, it's hard. Not the worst, but I think we're still probably dead. Although we have enough, ironically enough, we kind of have enough permanents in play that we might even be able to survive Emrakul, which is weird. So we're going to equip the Ornithopter up so that if we do miraculously manage to get an extra turn, we can just swing for the win. And that is a 27/2 Ornithopter. So we can beat a removal spell because of Arcbound Ravager. We can beat this. The only problem is any other kind of... He probably has something else going on, so whatever, we'll see. Let's just get the bare minimum here, though, because I want lots of permanents in place so I can actually survive an Emrakul. Yeah. But he's just gonna use another removal here, I would imagine. Okay, he didn't. Interesting. Well, I can't really attack into Emrakul either because he's a flyer, so I don't know. Huh. Deal. This guy's got all the answers. Emrakul? Emrakul? The flying spaghetti monster has arrived. Alright, I've seen enough. Tax, annihilates. 6 of my permanents. Yeah, it's good enough. So obviously in the new aggressive meta, these white-red decks that are just loaded up with removal must have some kind of success. So let's look at the sideboarding, see what we can do here. I'm not even that keen on Etched Champion, because even though I can dodge a lot of the removal, I don't. It doesn't present much of a clock, and it's not good against those sweepers, which he's got loads of. Although it is good against Anger of Gods. I will admit that. So I'm going to get rid of the Galvanic Blast. There just isn't anything I want to aim these at. Maybe a Planeswalker, but not really. It's not really what I'm looking to do. Yeah. Thought Seizes are going to be probably alright. You know, one thing I like to do, I run 3 Aether Grids. One thing I kind of like to do when you have decks that are just sort of hosing Affinity because of sweepers and other things is just go with an Aether Grid plan where, especially if it's like a slow grindy deck, sometimes you can just put down an Aether Grid and then you just don't care about a lot of their answers and you can just sort of ping at them, and that can keep Planeswalkers under control. So I think my plan is going to be to Aether Grid it up. So what am I going to cut? I need to cut 3 cards. Again, I'm not over the moon about Etched Champion, but it does survive Anger, so maybe Master's not where I want to be. He probably has Path to Exile, so probably Master's not the best. And we'll just get rid of whatever. Doesn't really matter. We'll go down, I don't know, 1 Midnight, I guess. Basically, when you're sideboarding with Affinity, you don't want to over sideboard. Maybe this is over sideboarding a little bit, bringing in 6 cards, but you really don't want to damage your explosiveness. So at the most, you cut 1 Memnite here, Springleaf Drum there, maybe 1 land if you're on the draw, but you really, really, really need to keep your deck intact. I mean, there's a real temptation to just gut your deck, and that is always going to end poorly for you. I like Welding Jar. This hand is keepable just because of Welding Jar, basically, and it has Mox Opal. It's explosive. It has an Etched Champion, which I just said I wasn't really that interested in, but you know what? Give it a try. I feel like there's a good chance we're just going to get Wrath of God in here and just lose, but we're going to keep. We are going to keep. So Etched Champion is one of my favorite cards. It's really good against Jund and Abzan, who deck 2 decks I really hate playing against. Comes back from my Merfolk days when I used to battle Jund and Abzan for victory, and I just hate those decks. I hate decks that just grind you out with removal. I mean, I love the fact that they're in the format, don't get me wrong. You know, if we didn't have decks like Jund and Abzan, Modern would not nearly be as great a format, but I like beating those decks, so that is why I prefer having as many Etched Champions. I mentioned in an earlier video that sometimes in the past I've actually had 4 Etched Champions. The reason I cut down to 3 was mostly because of the fact that Bant Eldrazi is a thing now. So Bant Eldrazi plays a lot of cards like Thought-Knot Seer and the other colorless cards, which make Etched Champion kind of embarrassing, because then you just get a 3-mana 2/2 who can just get blocked and killed by any of their creatures, and it's pretty much humiliating to have an Etched Champion facing down a Thought-Knot Seer and an Eldrazi Displacer. I mean, that's not where you want to be. So And the other reason that I've sort of been running a couple Masters of Ethereum, which is against my general inclination, is just because there seems to be a lot of combo now. And again, you don't really want Etched Champion against combo because it's very slow. It just hits in for 2, and oftentimes, depending on the combo deck, but oftentimes they can just combo you out before you can even get anything done. So in that case, Master of Ethereum is just a way to race. There's a good argument. Some people just like to play 4 of them and 4 Masters of Ethereum, and then just have like a really aggressive opening hand, which just wins a lot of the time. And then, you know, if they need Etched Champion later, they can sort of just board it in. But I don't like doing that because I like having more impact cards in my sideboard. I do have 1 Etched Champion in the board now, but having just a bunch of Etched Champions in my sideboard doesn't really seem exciting to me. I want to get edges. I really like cards like Chalice of the Void because there's in certain matchups that card is just insane. So I like cards that I bring in and my opponent just kind of almost scoops immediately upon seeing it. So those are the kinds of cards I like to have in. So I'm not into having a bunch of Etched Champions in the sideboard. So I just avoid using my Springleaf Drum here because I want to attack for as much as possible, obviously. This isn't a bad start. I mean, a fairly fast clock. Stony Silence? Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever. That actually doesn't hurt me that much because this is a fairly stony... Ha! Oh, except I can't play it. Fuck. Oops, excuse my language. Well, whatever. Keep attacking. This is a fairly Stony Silent resilient hand. It will just be a matter. He's probably going to sweep me, and then I'm going to have 1 Etched Champion. And whether that's going to be enough. So this is an Anger of Gods, yeah. So will the last 2/2 protection from everything be enough? That's the question. And it will if he doesn't have another sweeper, which I feel like he probably does. Wall of Omens. I don't mind seeing that. Draw cards as much as you want. Now he's got the 4th land. So I've got a glacial 5-turn clock. Oh, okay, Mountain is excellent. Oh, I just need one more land, and I can basically just ping him to death. This is exciting. Oh, Aether Grid is just literally the best. It's great against decks that just try to Stony Silence you out. Nahiri's fine. What's he gonna exile? Yeah, no, that's fine. It's great against decks that just try to Stony Silence you out. It's great against decks with a bunch of small creatures like elves, or I don't know if goblins is still running around, but it's excellent against goblins. That's the worst possible land. I can't use it. Alright, keep attacking him. Should I attack Nahiri down to 4? Well, look, if he has a sweeper, I just lose Oh, no. If he has a sweeper, I just lose anyway, so I'm just going to keep pressuring his life total. And again, I'm just going to desperately hope either he doesn't have a sweeper. Not looking good. No, this looks like another Planeswalker. The way he's tapping his mana here. Destroy each artifact you don't control. Well, that's pretty much a sweeper. Yeah, that sucks. Okay, well, I think I lost this game. Oh, now he's going to get an Emrakul? Yeah. I just lose. Game over. Fair game. Well played, opponent. What's the lesson here? The lesson here is that Affinity doesn't do that great against a bunch of sweepers and a Stony Silence. I think we already knew that. Obviously, if it wasn't for the Stony Silence, I would have been able to equip a Cranial Plating and that game would have been over a lot quicker. But yeah, that's the nature of the beast. Sometimes you just lose to decks that have good sideboard cards. But the reason why the win percentage is so good with Affinity is that a lot of times they just don't have it, as you saw in the first game. So, great. All right. Like, comment, whatever. Subscribe if you want. This is Steve playing Affinity in Modern, and thanks for tuning in.